Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Johanna. I see you are nice and early, a minute before your talk. So that's very nice.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it
Okay,
does. Good luck.
thank you so much. Hello again. So my name is Johanna Zikulnig. I work as a scientist at Silicon Austria Labs, and I want to discuss with you the challenges of the end of life of printed sensors. For those of you who don't know us, and I think those are many people, Silicon Austria Labs is a non-university research organization working along the value chain of electronic-based systems in Austria, and we are actually the biggest of this kind, focused on electronics and microelectronics, operating on 3 locations. In Graz is the headquarter, in Villach I am located in the south of Austria, and then the 3rd location is in Linz. And we have more than 350 experts and a multidisciplinary team with more than 40 different nations. Our expertise can be categorized in sensor systems. Here you already see one of those examples that we are promoting, our printed sensor tag. But we also have the power electronics, intelligent wireless systems, microsystems, and embedded systems. I work in the sensor systems, and we are focused on the development of printed sensors. So what are current trends in sensors, and what are the environmental implications? First of all, ubiquitous sensing is pushing the sensor market. So the sensor market exhibits annual growth rates of 9% with driving fields in Internet of Things, healthcare, automotive. But at the same time, single-use applications are emerging. For example, point-of-care diagnostics, where the devices have to be disposed of quite regularly because of hygienic restrictions, as well as a significant growth of the smart packaging market. But again, in this case, as the sensors are part of packaging, they will be disposed of quite early. At the same time, the electronic waste issue escalates. It's the fastest growing waste stream globally, and we see a huge loss of valuable materials, especially silver, but also copper, which was recently rated as a strategic raw material by the European Union. So we should take care of those valuable materials. Why is this particularly interesting for printed electronics? Because printed electronics or printed sensors are enabling new form factors, a high degree of integration. We are functionalizing surfaces like for in-mold electronics, in smart packaging, wearables and e-textiles, or point-of-care diagnostics. However, I mentioned that electronic waste is one of the largest growing waste streams, but given those applications, those single-use printed electronics are not expected to enter the electronic waste stream. They might end up in medical waste or even in municipal waste, especially if it comes to smart packaging. So what does this mean? What are general end-of-life options? I take here the European Union Waste Framework Directive as a benchmark, and they define the waste hierarchy. First of all, waste should be prevented. In this case, inherently not, because obviously we are generating more waste with integrating printed sensors in everyday devices. You can prepare for reuse, but also this is not really applicable in case of printed sensors for point-of-care diagnostics or for smart packaging. Then the next best option would be recycling. If that's not possible, recovery should be targeted. Recovery in this context means something like recovery with you recover energy like in an incineration plant in terms of electrical or thermal energy. And the least desirable option is the disposal. For our printed sensors, we can assume that the end-of-life options for the single-use sensors will be, in the best case, recycling, likely recovery, or disposal. What is actually the reality in the European Union? What is the current waste management? Around 18% is landfill. The European Union targets to reduce the landfill to 10% or less by 2033. Then around 25% of the waste is incinerated, the largest part of this with energy recovery. And around 50% of the